Hello and welcome to another pen video from me, Penultimate Dave. So I have here another 10 pens currently inked for this week. I think let's go through these briefly one by one. We'll go through them in a little bit more detail and then we'll do a writing sample. So from left to right we have a Visconti, and this is the Blue Ripple. We have a Visconti Medici or Medici. We have a London pen company, the Christopher in Erinoid Caramel. We have a London pen company, Christopher 15 in the Jonathan Brooks Primary Manipulation 1. We have a Parker Duofold, and this is the Prestige in the black chevron. We have an OMAS Milord, and this is in the wild. We have a Taccia, and this is the Miyabi Winter's Breath. We have a Visconti Medici or Medici Il Magnifico in the Lapis Lazuli, another Visconti Medici in the Il Magnifico, and then we have the TWSBI Vac 700R in the Iris. So I think let's take a look at these pens in a little bit more detail. So this is the Visconti Blue Ripple, and this is a very, very beautiful pen. It's similar to a watermark, but it has this opaque white cracked ice effect going on. It is an overlay. The watermark actually has V cutouts for Visconti. This is more of like a chevron, or a rounded sort of chevron, or maybe even a ripple, strangely enough, hence the name. This is a beautiful pen. It's made of silver, and it is quite a heavy pen, and it has this lovely overlay here, and it's a metallic sort of blue, and it's really quite nice. Now this is a Power Vac. It's a double reservoir, and if I show you the nib, you'll see it has the old style Visconti. It's an 18 karat gold, and it's a medium nib. Now it does have the double reservoir there, and it is a Power Vac filler. So this is a really nice size of my hand. I like the weight of it. It's got some weight. It's not a light pen. It's not a super heavy pen, but I guess it depends on your opinion on what you say or what you think is a light versus a heavy pen. For me, this is not a massively heavy pen. I have had pens for review that I find if I write a paragraph with, I get hand cramp with. I don't have any of those pens in my collection at the moment, so I don't find this. I find it a heavier pen, but I don't find it a massively heavy pen. So I have that pen inked up this week. A pen that I've not had inked up for a little while is this one, and this is the Visconti, and this is the Medici, and this has a beautiful sort of wood grain effect going on there in that body. Now, you don't see that in a lot of these Visconti Medicis, but what you do see is this lovely brown chatoyance on a lot of them. So this model that I had here is a little bit more unique, and I did have two of these, and I sold one to a friend, and he still has that pen to my recollection, and I kept this one because it had that wood grain effect there, and I like this material. I like it a lot. So for me, this is a beautiful pen, and this has a hook safe lock mechanism there, and this nib I have on here is a Visconti, and it's a 23 karat palladium nib, but it's a double broad. So this is a very, very broad nib that you can see there. And this didn't come with that nib, it came with a medium nib, but I did swap it out for this double broad. So I'm glad that I have that on there, because I do like writing with that nib. It's got quite a bit of a character to it. The next pen I have inked up this week is the London pen company Christopher, and this is the regular Christopher model. It's in Erinoid in a caramel swirl, and this is a beautiful, beautiful pen. And you just see that there. The polishing on this, it polishes up really, really well. And Sean at the London Pen Company in Ontario in Canada did a really, really good job. And you can see this chatoyance going on there. Just helps the pen come alive. So this really is a beautiful, beautiful pen. Now, this has an ebonite section here. It has a Jowo number 6 size steel nib, and it's gold plated. It's a broad nib. It's a cartridge converter pen. These two here are Power Vacs fillers. The Medici is a single reservoir, not a double reservoir, unlike the Blue Ripple. A cartridge converter holds around about 0.7 milliliters of ink, and I find that if you like changing inks, then really a converter pen is probably more to your liking, because you can change inks a lot more quicker than you can with these, whereas this one here, the Visconti Medici, will hold about 1.5 milliliters of ink, and this one, because it's a double reservoir, will hold around 2.5 milliliters of ink. So it takes a lot longer to change inks. The next pen here is a London Pen Company, and again, this is another Christopher, but this is the 15 model, and this comes in the Jonathan Brooks Primary Manipulation 1, and this is a really, really lovely material here, and I do actually love this material a lot. Now, this is a much more girthier pen, and you can see that here. That is much, much more girthier, both on the section but also on the body. This comes with a number 6 size, and this is a Bock nib, not a Jowo nib this time. And it's a broad nib, but this actually does write quite nicely as well. Again, it's a cartridge converter, and I do like really going back to cartridge converters, because I do find that it's a lot easier to clean cartridge converter pens out. So I have that one inked with me this week as well. The next one is a Parker, and this is the Duofold Prestige, and it's a black chevron, and it's basically the centennial size, which is the larger size. The international is a shorter size, but this is a prestige model, and this has this really beautiful black chevron effect going on there with ruthenium trims. This really is beautiful, so I do like that a lot. Now, this again, it's a metal pen, so it is quite heavy. You've got this lovely sort of ruthenium trim throughout, and then you have the ruthenium coloured nib there. And this is a Parker Duofold number 6 size, 18 karat gold fine nib. It's a cartridge converter pen, and I love this pen a lot. It's a pen that I like to ink up, and I have been writing with now and again. It's a really nice pen. The next pen here is an OMAS Milord, and this is in the wild. And you see a lot of these. This is a celluloid material from the old OMAS days. And OMAS, unfortunately, are no longer. They closed their doors. And you do see a lot of this wild material in pens, and also being still made in pens. But you don't see a lot of this creamy white in them in a lot of the pens that are turned. So when I actually got this pen, I didn't like that amount of white. I wanted more black in it. But over the last few years, this has actually grown on me to the point that I really do like it. So this it's a piston filling pen, and it comes with an OMAS number 6 size, and this is an 18 karat gold nib, and this is a medium nib there. But this is a really, really nice pen. I can post a cap if I want to on this. I don't need to, and I rarely do post caps. But I like that. I like that a lot. So I have that one inked up with me this week as well. And then I have this stunning pen, and this is the Taccia Miyabi, and this is the Winter's Breath. Now, as of now, there are two different Taccia Winter Breaths. There's the original one, and then there's the, which is a more of a rectangular shaped pen, longer pen. And then there's this one, which is the Miyabi, which is more of a cigar shaped pen. But you'll see here that this has crushed quail's eggs. And they crush the eggs and then try and actually stick them back together again. And you kind of think, why? Why would they even do that? But it creates this beautiful, beautiful cracked egg effect. And I like that a lot. And then it also has this beautiful sort of strips of coloured Rawdon or abalone shell going throughout that pen. And it's a jaw-dropping pen. I absolutely love it. And it's about the same girth, I would say, almost as the Christopher. Now, this comes with a Taccia, and this is an 18 karat gold nib, and it's a broad nib. Now, these Taccia nibs are made by Sailor for Taccia. So this is technically a Sailor nib, but it's branded Taccia. Now, this pen I really, really do love, and I love writing with it as well. So I have that one inked up this week as well. The next pen I have inked up is this one, and this is the Visconti Medici, and this is the Il Magnifico, and it's in the Lapis Lazuli blue stone. And this pen is made of marble, or lapis lazuli, and it is also made of solid silver. So this is a heavy pen. And I did say that I have had some heavy pens that give me hand cramp, but this isn't one of them. And when I actually sort of fractured my elbow and torn some ligaments last year in my writing, my dominant hand or dominant elbow, I thought going to a smaller, thinner, lighter pen would actually work better for me. And I tried it and I got a lot of pain. And I decided to switch back to a heavier pen like this. And I found I got less pain. So it's kind of strange, but I like this pen a lot. It is a weighty pen. This comes with a Visconti newer 18 karat gold medium nib, but this nib writes really nicely. And a little bit more like the older 23 karat palladium nibs, a little bit wider, I would say, than a medium, but maybe closer to a broad. But I like it. I like it a lot. So I have this one inked up with me this week as well. The next pen, again, is another Visconti Medici, and this is the original Il Magnifico, and this is in the red marble. And again, it's made of marble. You do not see many pens. I'd like to say nowadays, you never did see many pens made of marble. But Visconti pulled this off. So it is made of marble, and it is made of solid silver. So again, this is a heavy pen. This has the older style Visconti 23 karat palladium medium nib on it, which, to be honest, actually writes more like a cross between a fine and a medium, I would say. Which is kind of strange because a lot of the palladium nibs actually wrote broader than they should do. But again, I like this nib. I love how it writes. I love the ink that I ink up with this pen. So both of these pens here are Power Vac fillers. They're single reservoir, not double reservoir. But I love these a lot. I really do. So I have both of those inked up with me this week. And then the last pen I have inked up is the TWSBI Vac 700R Iris. And I have 5 of these. And I still have only inked up, is it 2? No, 3. I've inked up 3 of them. I still haven't inked up 2 of them. So far I've kept 2 mint. but I will probably ink them up at some point. But I keep refilling this with the same ink. I love this ink in this pen. I love how it writes. So this comes with a TWSBI, and it's a number 6 size nib, and it's a steel nib, and it's a broad nib. But I love how this one writes. And you can see the sort of iridescent colouring here on the nib and on the trims and on the cap band there as well. So this is a pen that I like inking up, and I decided I would ink that up this week and write with it as well. So that's my 10 pens currently inked up this week. I think let's now go and do a writing sample. So the first pen is the Visconti Blue Ripple. So I think let's do an ink swatch. Now, I really do love this blue ink. I'm not one normally for like a mid blue or even a navy blue, but I love this blue ink. So this is the Visconti, and it's the Blue Ripple. Sometimes it's really hard to write when you've got the camera in your way. Now this has a medium, and it's the older style 18 karat gold nibs. The ink in here is Diamine Imperial Blue, which is a really lovely blue colour. The next pen is the Visconti Medici. So we'll do an ink swatch. Now this is a fat nib. There's no two ways of saying it really is a fat nib. So this is the Visconti Medici, and it is a double board, and it's a 23 karat palladium nib. And then the ink in here is Akamon SBRE Brown. But that is a beautiful broad or double broad nib there. The next pen we have here is the London pen company, the Christopher in Erinoid Caramel. So we'll do an ink swatch. And this is a very, very wet writing nib. And also the ink is actually quite wet as well. So it actually makes it a little bit more wetter. So this is the London pen company, and it's the Christopher, and it's in Erinoid Caramel, and it's a broad steel nib. And then the ink in here is Diamine Chocolate. But that is a beautiful, really dark, sort of almost cocoa-y chocolate brown ink. The next pen is the London Pen Company Christopher 15. And this is in the Jonathan Brooks Primary Manipulation. So we'll do an ink swatch. And you can see here it's a really beautiful green colour ink. So this is the London Pen Company, and it's the Christopher 15, and it's in Primary Manipulation 1 from Jonathan Brooks, and this is a broad steel nib. And then the ink in here is Diamine Meadow, which is a beautiful green colour ink for this time of year. The next pen is a Parker Duofold Prestige in the black Chevron. So we'll do an ink swatch. And this is a fine nib, but I don't normally like fine nibs a lot, but I like how this one writes. So this is a Parker, and it's the Duofold Prestige, and it's the black Chevron, and it is a fine, and it's an 18 cat gold nib. And then the ink in here is Franklin, Christoph, and it's Sweet Maroon. I know it's not a black ink, but it's an ink I like writing with, so I decided I would ink it up in this pen. The next pen is the OMAS Milord in the Wild. So we'll do an ink swatch. Now, this is a medium nib. It's quite a wet nib, but I do find it writes a little bit more on the finer side of medium. Now, this is an OMAS Milord, and it's in the Wild, and it is a medium, and it's an 18 cat gold nib. And then the ink in here is Waterman Audacious Red, which is a beautiful red ink. The next pen is the Taccia Miyabi Winter's Breath. We'll do an ink swatch. Now this is a broad nib, but because it's an Asian nib, it tends to be a little bit more towards a Western medium. So this is the Taccia Miyabi, and it's the Winter's Breath. And it's a broad, and it's an 18 cat gold nib. And then the ink in here is Pelican, Edelstein, Topaz, which I still love in this pen. The next pen is the Visconti Medici, and this is the Il Magnifico in the Lapis Lazuli. We'll do an ink swatch. And I love this colour ink. It really is an ink that speaks to me. I love that it's not a blue, and I love that it's not like a purple. So this is the Visconti Medici, and it's the Il Magnifico in the Lapis Lazuli, and it's a medium 18 cat gold nib. And then the ink in here is Pilot Owashizuku, and it's Aji Sei. I always get this wrong. Why do I get this wrong? It's Aji Sei, like that. The next pen is another Visconti Medici, and this is the Il Magnifico. So we'll do an ink swatch. And this is a little bit of a pinkish red, or a reddish pink. I'd say probably a pinkish red, to be honest. So this is the Visconti Medici Il Magnifico, and it's a medium 23 cat palladium nib, and then the ink in here is Pelican, Edelstein, and it's Star Ruby. But that is a favourite pink ink of mine. And then the last pen is the TWSBI Vac 700R Iris. So we'll do an ink swatch. And this is a nice broad nib for me. I like broad nibs. So this is the TWSBI Vac 700R Iris in a broad steel nib, inked up with Diamine Mistletoe. So I think let's take a look at these pens inked up one more time. We have a Visconti Blue Ripple in a medium 18 karat gold nib inked up with Diamine Imperial Blue. We have a Visconti Medici in a double broad 23 karat palladium nib inked up with Akamon SBRE Brown. We have a London Pen Company Christopher in Erinoid Caramel in a broad steel nib inked up with Diamine Chocolate. We have a London Pen Company Christopher 15 in Primary Manipulation 1 in a broad steel nib inked up with Diamine Meadow. We have a Parker Duofold Prestige Black Chevron in a fine 18 karat gold nib inked up with Franklin Christoph Sweet Maroon. We have an OMAS Milord in the Wild in a medium 18 karat gold nib inked up with Waterman Audacious Red. We have a Taccia Miyabi Winter's Breath in a broad 18 karat gold nib inked up with Pelican Edelstein Topaz. We have a Visconti Medici Il Magnifico in the Lapis Lazuli in a medium 18 karat gold nib inked up with Pilot Orochizuku Ajise. We have another Visconti Medici Il Magnifico in a medium 23 karat palladium nib inked up with Pelican Edelstein Star Ruby. And then we have a TWSBI Vac 700R Iris in a broad steel nib inked up with Diamine Mistletoe. So there you have it. That's my currently inked pens for this week. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next pen video. Bye bye.